Hey guys, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the DC Comics Multiverse Suicide Squad Joker figure. Now this is a pretty good figure, he's not too bad. I'm going to be talking about some of his flaws and actual good parts in a minute. First off, let's take a quick look at the packaging. Now, the front's pretty cool. It shows a little picture of Jared Leto there as the Joker. And I had to pick this guy up because after I watched the Suicide Squad movie, Joker is now my favorite DC character. It's just immediately. Bad guy character. I don't know. I kind of like Superman more than the Joker, but right now I'm really digging the Joker. He was awesome. You guys should check out that movie if you haven't. There's on the side there's another image of him, even bigger. And something I want to point out is people are always sticking the gun in his right hand here. It's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be in the left hand. I don't know if Jared Leto is actually left-handed, but it's just the figure is designed for holding it in that hand, and on the front you can see he's holding a gun in that hand. So just something I wanted to point out there. Then it says build the ultimate croc. So it's a build-a-figure in there, which is always fun. Then there's a huge warning label that's kind of, I don't know, it's ugly. I don't know why they have to put it right on the box up front. On the back would be nice. I think they probably even have some warning stuff back here. Nah, no real warning stuff. Anyway, there's no read-ups or anything. It just has the Build-A-Figure here, which looks okay. It's just going to be like that big, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be pretty much the same size as the characters themselves, so, you know, it's not the greatest Build-A-Figure. And then here's the lineup from this wave, which actually, some of these aren't out yet. I know this Harley Quinn is out. I believe that Joker is out. That Harley is out, and of course this Joker. But everything else, these two at least, are not. So, look forward to that stuff, yeah. This one right here looks like crap, though. I've seen images, not looking good. Anyway, let's set the box to the side and let's take a look at the Joker himself. So let's take out his accessories and let's take a quick look at the face sculpt and paint. So this is one of those faces where you can't really say, oh my gosh, that's definitely dead on Jared Leto Joker. That's definitely the guy that they're basing that off of. It's more of, you know, you can tell it's a human. That's a up, but you can't necessarily say it's Jared Leto. It's about as much as this is Jared Leto as all those Marvel figures are that character. Like, they have one of, what's his name, Chris, whatever, Captain America, and it just looks like vaguely like Captain America, and that's what's going on here. This is a vague resemblance. I think the hair and forehead may be a bit off, making his head maybe a little bit too Frankensteinish. Should be a little bit more rounded off. Not a huge problem, but does take away from the likeness. And then I think there's a huge problem with the paint where the actual actor has like a lot going on in the face area. That's a lot of different colors mixed in. He just looks pale and dead, and then his eyes don't really have the darkness that they should around here. I know, he definitely needs a repaint, and I'm going to do that. But of course, this is the frowning Joker. He looks very serious, almost pursed-lipped, compared to the other Joker that's just like so gleefully happy. I think that one does look better, but I don't know, I do like the seriousness of this Joker, so yeah, it's a toss-up. Wish they had one that was in between with just like a small smile. Maybe I'll repaint him that way. But I'm definitely going to do a video showing a little bit of customization going on with this guy. Anyway, they did manage to get some nice paint details on here, like the little smile on his hand, which unfortunately you can't actually put to his mouth, which was something that I really liked in the movie, where he was like putting that there and going, or whatever. Yeah, I liked that. And then he does have a lot of paint on the inside here, but you can't really see it because originally this part here is glued down, but you can just pull it apart. On some it is different though, where instead of having this big tab as the part of this rubber jacket, it's actually a hole in his pants, so if you have one of those, I wouldn't recommend ripping this apart because it looks weird then, but on this one it's okay. So you can see there's a lot of detail going on with the tattoos. He has the ha-ha-ha's over there, some playing cards up there. I think it's a Joker. Oh no, it says all in. There's a little skeleton face with some smoke around it. It says Joker on his stomach muscles here, and then a nice little smile. I like that a lot. Plus, shows how defined the guy is. Very skinny, too. Okay. Apparently Jared Leto gained weight to play the Joker. How skinny was that little dude? Oh, but anyway, on the sculpt, it looks pretty nice. The plastic they used here surprisingly matches up very well, which is weird because this is one of those weird marbleized silverish colors that doesn't usually match up with anything, but I think they did a good job with the plastic and rubber parts that they used here. Plastic here, rubber part for the jacket. It just sort of smoothly goes together. Then I don't like how everything's so shiny, but I suppose it should be kind of shiny. I mean, you can see it's a bit reflective here. The black shouldn't really be, and the red should be a little bit more dull. It looks kind of bloody. And with the sculpt, I do have a slight problem. I feel like the jacket looks a little too poofy in this one part where it connects. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to just like slice this apart and make it so it's sort of, you know, free dangling. So it'll look a bit more like that. A little bit better. And another thing you may notice is his bottom half here is like a little extra extended, because normally the part that goes with this body is the Arkham pants that are extra long in the crotch. So yeah, they kind of had to do that with this guy too. I know, it's kind of hard to explain, but if you own or have looked into any of these, you probably know. Has some nice buttons on them. Sculpt is it's rather nice. There's nothing great with the paint though. It'd be nice if we had some details. His shoes are nice. Okay, so that's basically all that's going on here. There is nice paint in the hair as well. There's a little bit of difference with the greens. They use dark green base, which is very nice looking, and then they use a light brush of green. His eyes are pretty level too. You may notice that he has damaged written up there, which is actually able to, you're actually able to see it. That's pretty good. Has a little mark there which you can't see, which is supposed to be a J, and then the little star up on his head there. So that's basically all I can say for sculpt and paint. Let's take a look at his accessories. I do have a problem with the accessories, and they are kind of serious. To start off, they stamp the word China right on them. Kind of takes away from the realisticness of the weapons. Yeah, China. And then on this one, yeah, I don't know if my camera's showing it off very well, but yeah, it's just a little annoying. And then to add that there is no paint detail on the knife and very minimal paint detail on the gun, it's just, it throws me off a bit. I'm gonna have to repaint these as well. And this knife is supposed to go in his hand here. Fits very well, but when he's holding it, it could be a knife, or if someone told you it's like a remote control or something, you'd probably want to say, no, it's definitely not, that's obviously a knife. It just looks like it's some sort of weird machinery, maybe a grenade type thing. It really doesn't look like a knife all that much. Maybe once you paint it up it will. And then with the gun, big complaint here, this is a Glock. You can take a look here. It looks pretty much like a Glock, maybe a little bit odd shaped for the Glock, but the gun that he's holding on the package is clearly more of a Colt. Let's get a better look here. Yeah. And that doesn't look anything like the Glock that they have here. You can see, whereas this part here indents, this part protrudes at the bottom. And then it's more squarish here, whereas this is more rounded off in certain areas. Just a small gripe there, I guess. It's not the hugest gripe, because it doesn't have to do with the actual figure itself. It has to do with accessories, but whatever. And then if you want him to hold in the right hand, you do have to sort of slice the finger hole here, because originally his trigger finger on the right hand is not separated from his other fingers. So there you go, now you can kind of hold that. But it does work best in the left hand, where it just slides in perfectly, and he really, really looks more natural holding it that way. Alright, and then with the knife, slide in there. There you go. So that's the accessories. There's only two, and for $20, not great. You could also consider the Killer Croc parts as accessories, but those aren't all that great, considering it's just these little stumpy arm parts. Let me try and get this out. Okay, it's just little stumpy arm parts that don't even have the hands with them. Yeah, it's just not that great. It's very stiff in the joints. Yeah, I'm probably gonna like hawk this off somewhere. Maybe get myself something for $4 out of that, who knows. Okay, so the sculpt and paint is okay. I feel like he is a little too pale. He should be a little more like this sort of, I don't know, he looks a little pinkish with his paleness. And the accessories kind of stink. The sculpt is not all that great, so overall, not very good so far. Let's just go over the articulation and then we'll wrap this up and I'll give you my final thoughts on him. So for articulation, his head can do a full 360. It can look up a fair amount, can look down, not much. And then there is that little waist joint here, which, I don't know, it helps a little, but it's also restricted by the jacket. It doesn't really click in place, but he can move up and down a little bit. There's his arms. He can do full 360 at the shoulder, move up to, wow, quite a ridiculous angle there. And then at the shoulder here, sort of, I guess bicep, it's a twist and then bends at the elbow. Pretty much the same on both sides, no real difference. Then at the wrist, there's a little bit of articulation. It can't really go 360, it just moves side to side because there's not a whole lot of room in that sleeve. You could probably heat it up with a dryer and get that articulation if you want, but I think it's fine the way it is. Dimension his head moves side to side, can do a little bit of pivot, and that's pretty much all with the head. At the waist, there's a little extra turn, which can go 360. Then at the hips, you can do the splits, which is, of course, the DC Comics version of the articulation there, which for some reason always has to have this huge gouge there in the crotch. And then kicking forward, looking good. Kicking back, he can do that on both sides, which looks painful. And then at the thigh here, there's an extra swivel, a bend at the knee, and then some articulation in the foot, which is a bit, it's not much. And then I don't think there's any ankle pivot, so kind of sad. So that's all of his articulation. Not horrible, not really great, but for $20 and for a DC figure, he's pretty on par. So to tell you guys, honestly, I like this figure mainly because it's Jared Leto's Joker, which I really liked. If this were just some regular figure, I would not like it a lot. It's rather plain. So I'm going to fix him up, do a whole video on that, and that'll be worth my time. But this figure, not necessarily worth your time. I would not recommend him unless you really liked the movie or you really want to customize him. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace. And the Joker stands at just under 6.5 inches. Here he is besides Harley. And here he is getting punched in the face by a Batman.